Hey guys, my name is Hannah and I would say, let's have some fun today. So, today it's a hard day for me because I will rank all my eyeshadow palettes I tried in 2023. It wasn't easy, guys. I thought it will be a quick thing, but I sat here in my room for a really long time and really tried to think which eyeshadows I like the most, which I use the most, and yeah, which is on the bottom for me. And that wasn't really easy for me. I need to be honest. It was really hard because eyeshadows is one of my favorite topics when it comes to makeup in general. I thought really long about that. I take this really serious, I have to tell you. So just that you know that I in general love all of the palettes that I bought for myself. I think all of them are really good quality. Some of them are really great quality. But all in all, every palette that I have or that I bought in 2023, I think all of them are good palettes in general. So this time I really didn't rank them as much performance-wise. I ranked them really more like which palette I used more, which palette I used less in 2023, and which palette really sparks my interest the most, and which one, yeah, I didn't really think of that much at that time around, you know? So this is more like what's my ranking based off. Otherwise, I would sit here for 5 or more hours to rank them because I couldn't. I really couldn't. When it comes to quality, it would be a little bit harder for me because all of them are really good. So I ranked them more like personal preference. Bought me this year 39 eyeshadow palettes. I think this is really the year where I spent the most for eyeshadow palettes. I never spent that much. I always buy me more eyeshadow palettes than anything else, but this time I really did go ham. I have to say that. Really did go ham, really bought so many palettes. I think for this year I even bought me a little bit more. It's on its way. They are on its way. So technically those aren't the only ones I bought, but I want to rank the palettes that are coming in the next couple of weeks to me because they're really fresh, didn't use them, and I really want to rank them when the time is right and when I really have the feeling I used them enough to can say something about them, about the quality, about how much I like them. So the palettes that are coming to my doorsteps before 2024, I think those will be my 2024 palettes that I will rank in 2024, the end of the year of 2024, because they are too fresh to me, you know? They aren't even there, I didn't use them, and I don't want to rank a palette that I didn't use enough. So that's that. But all the other 39 palettes, I think I can tell you a little bit more about them. So let's get into it. Palette number 39, and I know this will be my 39 because it's the palette I don't use ever anymore, to be honest. I bought it really early in the year and I know at the bottom of my heart that I wouldn't use it that much, but I bought it anyways because I got persuaded somehow. It's the Morphe X Pony palette right here. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's a nice palette. I won't say it's the greatest quality of all time. It's the best of the best. It's not really, but it's also not bad. I like the colors in here. I like the colors that Pony especially chose for this palette. But it's just too big, guys. I love big palettes, you know, but I don't love palettes that are bigger than my head. Look at this. You can't see me anymore when I'm doing this in front of me. So I don't know, this size is a little bit too much for me, I have to say. It's a little bit too much. Never reaching for it. It's looking a little bit used up because I let my nieces play with this palette right here. It's the only one I felt comfortable that they can play with, and I'm not too heartbroken when something happened to it. So this is saying everything to me that this is at 39. I think it's a valid place, but it's not a bad palette. I have to say the metallics are a little bit lackluster. I like the cheek products. this is something I have to give to the palette. The cheek products are really beautiful. I like them. The metallics are a little bit meh, and the mattes overall are not bad, especially the more neutral type of mattes. If you are taking more the dark blue, the lighter blue, there are a little bit more to work with. You have to build them up a little bit more, or you need to get a little bit more time on your hands to blend them out. But all in all, it's a nice palette, and the one shimmer that it's having all the metallic and shimmery shades in here is this one called Breathe. This is a beautiful, beautiful glitzy type of shimmer, and I think this is saving the whole palette, to be honest, in the end. But all in all, it's not a bad palette. I like the vision of pony in here, but I just don't like the sheer amount of colors that you are getting in here. There are so many repeats, you could say, almost in here, and yeah, it's just too much. It's just too much for an eyeshadow palette, and I'm not a big fan of that. I'm never reaching for it in the moment. Maybe the time will come again where I think, okay, I want to play with it again, but in the moment I never think of using this one. So yeah. The next one, it's my MAC New Year palette. It's called Year of Glam palette. It's this little 8-pan palette right here. It's really beautiful. I can't say that I don't like the looks that I'm having on my eyes with this one. It's not really something that is giving me the most incredible time of my life, you know, with eyeshadows. It's not something that's really inspiring to me or something like that, but it's really quick and easy, and I like the metallics. They are really solid, and I like how my eyes are looking in the end when I'm wearing this palette right here. I think all in all it's a nice palette, and I reach from time to time to this palette, you know, but it's just there isn't any excitement towards this palette, if you know what I mean. The metallics and the shimmers are all a little bit more on the standard side. The mattes are really nice and blendable, but there are nothing special, you know, they are just normal, typical mattes. The colors as well. And yeah, it's nothing that incredibly special. So that's because it's ranked a little bit lower on 38, but all in all, I like it. It's solid, and I'm using it mostly in conjunction with other palettes. I think this is when I'm liking it the most, when I take a glitter maybe from another palette and put it all over my lid to make it a little bit more interesting looking. But all in all, I like it. It's not that I don't like it, like I said, but if I look at my other palettes that I have, I think this can't deserve anything higher in my ranking. What I can rank a little bit higher though, it's my ColourPop Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon for Love and Justice palette. This one right here. It's just so cute. I love the theming in here. I love Sailor Moon. I'm rewatching it in the moment. So my little buns are inspired by that, you could say. And yeah, all in all, I really like this palette. It's a good ColourPop quality palette. Especially this blue right here, it's so stunning on the eyes. It's so vibrant and beautiful looking and really easy to put on. So all in all, I love this palette right here. I used it not that long ago. You know, some of the metallics, I wish they had a little bit more impact, like this one right here called So Cosmic. It's a duochrome, but I wish that the duochrome would come just a little bit more out. I know ColourPop is not an expensive brand or anything like that, but I wished it would at least have a little bit more of impact. So yeah, this is something that is a little letdown, you could say, but all in all, the color story and everything else is really beautiful. So I like this palette overall, but I just think again, when I look at my other stuff, how much I used it, and in comparison to this one, I can't justify to put it any higher than that. But it's a good palette. If you like the color story, if you like Sailor Moon, I don't think you are doing anything wrong buying this one. I think it's a beautiful, nice palette. You can go really bold, you can go really light, and either way you will get a nice, beautiful eye look in the end. But yeah, it's just not the palette where I think immediately off when I want to do my eyes, you know. I need to remind myself every time that I have this one and that I should need it. So like I said, that's the reason I can't justify to put it any higher, but all in all, I really like it. Will maybe surprise you a little bit, but it's just due to the color story that it's ranked so low. And it's the Cosmic Brushes Delicious Delight palette. Don't get me wrong, guys, I really like the quality in here, especially this shimmer, this duochrome. Look at this. Oof. This duochrome alone, for this shade alone, it was worth it for me to buy this palette right here. But when I'm being honest with myself, I don't use those colors that much. I don't use it that much in the summertime, I don't use it that much in the wintertime as well, so it don't get that much use out of me like it should, to be honest, because it's a stunning, beautiful palette and the quality is top-notch. So if those are 100% your colors, you are doing nothing, really nothing wrong buying this one. It's beautiful looking on the eyes. And the shades are also very easy to work with, and I love the shimmers especially in here. So everything is really nice, but just in case of color story and what I like to wear in the moment, or this year in general, to be honest, it's not something I'm grabbing that often too. So this is because it's ranked so low, but all in all as well, like with the other ones, stunning and great quality. It's also a palette I really love and adore. I love the colors, I love the quality, top notch, so just that you know that. But it's just a palette I didn't reach that much for at all, to be honest. And it's my Melt Muerte palette. I really wanted this one for a long time. I love the color combination, I love the packaging, I love everything about this palette. It's just that I don't use this type of color story or colors in general that much at all this year. It's just very wham bam in your face colors, you know, and I didn't felt it this year that much for just so vibrating colors. But all in all, I really like this palette. So again, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful palette, and if you are a everyday wearer of those colors, or if you are wearing those colors in general very often and you like that, you are doing nothing wrong buying this palette right here. So it's a beautiful palette, but it's just really, those colors are so punchy, so dark, and you know, I don't wear those colors in the moment that often. So all in all, just love for this palette. I'm not regretting buying it, but I hope I will use it maybe next year a little bit more than I did this year. I just can hope so, but yeah, all in all, I really like it. And by the way, guys, I never had a problem with melt palettes that are getting mold, at least not in my collection. But I have to say, this time is the first time a palette of mine from the melt collection is getting bad. And it's the Gemini 2 palette. In 2 colors of the Gemini 2 palette I got mold and I needed to throw them away. I did pressed in other colors that I have, but yeah, it was really sad, to be honest. And the 2 colors that are gone now are the 2 only metallic type of shades in there. So really sad, and especially the bronzy one I really loved. So I can't do anything about it, but it's a really sad thing, and now I'm a little bit more cautious with my melt palettes, and I need to look every time really closely in there if I can see any sign of mold, because it was a little bit, it wasn't a nice thing to see, you know. And then when I imagine to put those colors on my eyes, it's not a good feeling that I have, you know. So I really need to look a little bit more closer now when it comes to my melt palettes, what is really sad. But yeah, it's the first time it happened to me, so just that you know, it can apparently happen to get mold in your melt palettes. And talking about melt, the next one is also a melt palette, and it's my Melt Cosmetics 420 palette right here. It's a little bit higher because of the colors. I really love those colors, and I'm using those types of colors a little bit more often than the colors in my Muerte palette. I love those colors. I know some people are loving it, some people are hating it, but I really think the mattes are beautiful and stunning in here. The only thing is that I think that the shade Shadow, the only glittery metallic shade in here, it's a little bit harder to work with, and I have the feeling it will get hard pan over time. It's not the easiest shade to have in this palette, and that's a little bit sad considering this is the only lighter metallic shade that you have in here, the only metallic shade in general that you have in here. So it would have been nice when this one is at least working really good. So that's a little bit a letdown, I have to say, but all in all I really love the colors. They're stunning, they're beautiful, love to work with them, and they all have really something unique to them. So that's because I think this palette is deserving to be a little bit more higher up, but it's not my highest one because when it comes down to it, I don't use it either that often, but all in all, I really like it nonetheless. The next palette I'm showing you, it's a palette I really like the line in general of from this brand, and it's their Velvet line. And I'm talking, of course, about Dior, and I bought for myself this year the Red Tartan palette. It came to me when I already had also the Blue Velvet palette. Really adore this one as well. Adored a little bit more, to be honest, than this one. Those are just really colors I have so often in my collection. They are really nice. They're nice, pigmented, blendable, beautiful colors, but it's just not a color story I'm reaching that often towards, or when I want those colors, let it phrase me more like that, I don't think immediately of my Velvet Red Tartan palette right here, just because there's nothing really special in here in terms of shimmers or something like that, you know, and then I think more of palettes that have those colors maybe with beautiful shimmers as well in it. So that's, I think, because I don't use it that much, but all in all I really enjoy it. I want to use it a little bit more. Maybe next year I will think a little bit more about it. I never know. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood for something like that, and suddenly I want to just those colors, just want to play with them and just want to use one eyeshadow palette all the time. So maybe it will happen with this one, but this year it wasn't really something I grabbed every time towards, because it's just a more boring type of color story for me, you know. The other ones were a little bit too adventurous, this one is a little bit too boring, so that's because I also can't justify to put it a little bit higher. But all in all, I think the quality is great. I love my eye look when I'm using this one, and I think it's a stunning palette nevertheless. But for the price point, you know, I don't think it's anything special. The next one I bought me this year really much from Melt, and it's a newer release from them, and it's their Halloween Town palette right here. I gave this palette a really good review, and I will stand by that. It's a really nice palette, it's a solid formulation, it's beautiful to blend out, but all in all those are really colors I like, but I don't use that often since I have this palette, you know. I don't think that much about those colors because they're so rumbled up in here. There are, you know, there are in a family. This is the more lilac-y side, this is the more bluish side, and this is the more warmer coppery goldeny side. All in all, this palette has a story, but to be honest, if I would have known that Melt will bring out a second palette, I would have bought me this one. I think I would have liked to have this one a little bit more than this one, but I like this one nonetheless. I think it's beautiful, and maybe when the other one is on a sale or something like that, I will buy it for myself as well. But I have to say, in the moment I'm not using Melt that much. I like them really much. They are one of my favorite brands, but in the moment I'm not that much in the mood to wear Melt. I don't know why, but it's just like that. It's just something I noticed in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, this is because this is a little bit ranked lower. I don't use it that much. I think the colors are really nice, but there's something a little bit that is missing for me. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but something isn't there that I sometimes want from a palette. That's all I can give you for now with this one right here. But I use it. It's not that I don't use it. I really like it. I use it. but I use my other stuff a little bit more than this one, if I have to be completely honest. Okay, the next one. I think there will be people that won't agree with me at all, but it's just how I feel when I have to be completely honest. The next one is the Owens Eye X Angelica Nyquist palette, the little ghost palette right here. The color story, mine is a little bit weird, but that aside, the color story, the shimmers, everything is really beautiful, and it's not about that in general. It's just I don't think of this palette that much in the moment. I don't really use it that much. It's not just because Halloween is over or something like that. It's just I would like that more shimmers are working a little bit better with the finger as well. You know, I have the feeling they are not that well with the fingers, because they are getting, some of them are getting a little bit too fast type of hard pan for me, and it's really often the case with Owens Eye palettes for me. I have the feeling that they are often more likely to get hard panning. Not all of them, but those that are a little bit more deeper pressed in there, you know. I can't pick them good up with my finger, and with my brush I really have to dig really hard on it to get the glitter effect that I want, you know. So it's a little bit sometimes of a mess, and I don't like that. All in all, the palette is beautiful. I really enjoy it, but it's just sometimes not my type of formulation. I think when it comes down just to formulation, it's good, but for my preference, it's not what I'm looking for in a palette, in my formulations for the shimmers at least. I really like the mattes in here. They are so beautiful. I think there are even more something I want to talk about how great they are than the shimmers. But when it comes to a palette, I really need my shimmers to work in a palette, and there are not all of them are working equally good for me. There are some that are beautiful, but there are also some in here like Boo or Magical, this one and this one, that aren't that great in my opinion. It's really hard to pick the color up that I want, the color payoff that I want. And also Zombie, it's a little bit harder. And yeah, Creepy is nice, Scratch is nice, but all in all, you know, it's not my favorite shimmer formulation of all time. Once you have it on your eyes, it's beautiful, it's stunning. It's just so magical looking and so glimmery and shimmery. So that's a big plus. But you need to get it there, you know. You need to work a little bit with them, and this is something I don't like that much, so it's ranked a little bit lower, sadly. Again, a melt palette. I bought very many melt palettes this year, it seems like. And it's my Blueprint palette. I really like the quality in here. I really love the colors. They're stunning. It's a solid and nice palette. But it's nothing in terms of formulations that is new to me. It's nothing something I'm so amazed by because it's something so innovative or something like that. It's just a solid, nice, good palette, you know? And that's because I really like it, but I don't use it that often. So I needed to rank it just a little bit lower. But all in all, I think it's nice. I really need to use it a little bit more. Maybe in the summertime I think a little bit more again about it. But right now I don't use it that often. But all in all, I have to say it's a good solid palette. I really like it. I really like how my eyes are looking after using this one, but it's just nothing too special for me, you know? Palette I didn't use in front of the camera, I think, but I really like it, and I don't know if it's available, to be honest, anymore. I bought it this year, but I think it's from last year, and it's my Black Jaguar palette from Chantecaille. It's this beauty right here. I love the packaging. It's a little bit more on the lighter side, you know, it's not feeling that luxurious, but the packaging itself, it's looking really beautiful. And here's the inside, guys. I love my eye look every time I use this palette, I have to be honest. It's a really pricey palette, I won't lie about that. So for that reason, I put it a little bit lower, but all in all I really like it, but I think I wouldn't pay necessary full price for it. I got it on a discount, and I just would get Chantecaille palettes on a discount, to be completely honest. I don't think it's worth the full price, just because it's so expensive. It's so expensive for 4 little eyeshadows that you are getting, but I have to say I think it's a really beautiful and stunning palette. I enjoy my time with it. I love every time my eye look. It's so stunning, sultry and so sophisticated looking at the same time. This really light shade right here is so beautiful. It's so glittery and sparkly. All in all, I love it. But I just think for 4 mini shades that you are getting, a price tag over $80 is really much. So that's because I ranked it a little bit lower. I would just buy it on a discount, to be completely honest. I don't say it's not worth the full price, because if you're so happy with your palette and you think it's stunning, then of course it's worth it if you're using it every day and you use it up. But with my big collection, you know, and maybe I could imagine that many people that are watching my channel also have a big collection, so for that reason I think it's not really worth it, because who knows how much use you will get out of it, even though you like it maybe, because you just have so many other things you like as well. But all in all, guys, it's a really beautiful palette and I can't deny that. A palette I bought on my trip to Tokyo and I really like it. It's the Moonlight Land palette from Flower Nose Beauty. This one right here. Look at the packaging, guys. It's just so stunning, and also the inside really beautiful. Really like it. I always pull this palette out just for this really light glittery shade. It's just like a really beautiful light glittery topper kind of shade, and I love to use this one. But I have to say I don't use it in general that often. I stick mostly to this shade right here. I don't know why. In the moment it's just something that's calling my name, and the other shades are getting a little bit overlooked by me, so that's because I couldn't rank it any higher. But all in all, I really like it. It's more like a really ethereal type of look you will get with this palette right here, and therefore I really enjoy myself with it. It's something a little bit more special in terms of formulation, how the glitters are looking on the eyes. It's really more like that J or K beauty type of look that you will get in the end. And just because of that, I think it's a palette worth having in your collection. I really enjoy my time with it, and I think it's deserving to be a little bit higher than the other ones because of that. But all in all, it's not the palette I'm using the most at the end of the day, but it's beautiful and stunning. It's the Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. This one right here. Look at the inside, guys. I'm amazed of this palette. I think it's so beautiful, so stunning looking. You can go really ethereal, you can go really dark and vampy. It's just a beautiful color story. I can't deny that. But it's a color story I'm not gravitating that often towards in the moment, just because there aren't any boring shades to pair those fun shades with, you know? I really like when a palette is a little bit more also, maybe just 1, 2, 3 neutral tones in here would be just enough for me, that I would have used it a little bit more often than I did in the end. But all in all, I really enjoy my time with it. But all in all, guys, it's a stunning palette. I can't deny that. If you really want this palette, if you are thinking of this palette, if you like those colors like I do as well, I really like to use them. It's not like that. I like to use neutral tones. I like to use dark and vampy tones. I love everything about eye makeup, you know? I love every direction that eye makeup can go in. But in the end, I didn't use it that often because it's just the preference from this year that I'm more on the neutral with a fun pop type of eye look in the moment, you know? I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's late and I'm a little bit tired, to be honest, but I really like this palette overall and I think it's stunning. I'm not mad that I bought it. I will use it definitely more. It's not something I don't use, but just in comparison with the other ones, I didn't use it that often, but I like it. I love it. I think it's stunning. What can I say more? The next one. There are so many palettes, guys, but we are going strong. It's my Tom Ford Quad in Electric Cherry. This one right here. I love this, guys. I love red tones and this palette reminded me of how much I love red tones. But the same deal with this one. I wouldn't pay full price for Tom Ford Quads. I always would get them on a sale, on a discount. I don't think it's worth full price. I don't think for 4 shades that you are getting it's worth to pay $80 to $90 in the end, you know. So always would buy me a Tom Ford quad on a good discount, but all in all, this palette really reunited me with red tones. Every time I want to do a red or a more berry type of eye look, I always think immediately of this palette, and it's just stunning, guys. It's beautiful. I love how sheeny and a little bit reddish my eyes are looking. It's not too sparkly, but it's something I'm not minding with this palette. I think the theming overall is really nice. The only thing maybe I wish that it would have, it's a lighter inner corner type of shade in here, but you know, I have so many palettes in my collection. This isn't a problem at the end of the day, but it's something that I would appreciate. All in all, really love it. Love my eye look at the end of the day with this one, and it deserves just to be ranked a little bit higher, you know. It's just beautiful. Also a newer palette in my collection, and it's a palette that's launched not that long ago. It's my Cosmic Brushes Gothic palette. This one right here. Like I said in my video when I used this palette, the Gothic theme is debatable, but overall the theme of this palette, the curation of this palette, it's just stunning, guys. I think it's beautiful. It's so breathtaking. The shimmers are top notch. I love the shimmers in here. The only thing is, I realized when I pack too many shimmers over my lid, it will crease eventually at the end of the day. So maybe be a little bit cautious about that if you don't want that your eyeshadow is creasing. Maybe don't pack too many shimmers over your eyelid. Don't layer them too much up because they will crease. They are really emollient feeling. So that's, I think, the reason, because this is also the reason because I don't rank it a little bit higher. I would have when there wasn't the creasing problem, you know. I don't have anything against creasing if it's something that's advertised towards this, if you know what I mean. If you buy a palette and you know it will crease. We will come to that later, but this palette, I didn't expect it to crease. I didn't want it to crease, and it did at the end of the day. I think it's just because I layered too many shimmers on one another, so this is something to take in consideration. But all in all, just need to use it a little bit more, but I love it. I love it. I love the color story. I love the shimmers. I love everything in here, and it needed to rank a little bit higher than the other ones. The next one is also a newer one from this year, and it's my MAC eyeshadow palette in Sparkle Storm. Look at this beautiful packaging. It's a little bit blinding, I'm so sorry, but it's stunning. I love the little 6-pan. I love how it's curated. I love that you have a really light white shade in here. It's so beautiful. I love this one as well. I love the blue. I love this reddish brownish tone. Those are my favorite matte shades, by the way, just if you are curious about that. It's just a beautiful palette. It's not giving me too much sparkle. I really love sparkle, but it's not giving me that. But it's giving me a sophisticated, nice eye look at the end, but with a fun pop, you know. And this is something I'm appreciating from this little palette right here. I have my fun using it, and it needed to rank a little bit higher. It's a palette that's really close to my heart because I wanted it for a long time, and I love the creator that sadly passed. It's from Mel Thompson and Sydney Grace. It's the Tiny Marvel palette. I really, really love this one. I really think it's a beautiful palette. I love the color curation in here. I think especially the metallics are solid and beautiful metallics. They are looking so stunning on the eye. The only thing is, I think that when I have to be completely honest, it's just the Sydney Grace formulation. I think the darker matte shades could be improved a little bit more. They're a little bit on the patchy side. It's just a little bit harder to work with them, in my opinion. It's not that easy peasy going in the outer corners. So when I'm using this palette, I every time have to think a little bit more about if I really want to use the darker mattes in here, and if I want to put a little bit more work into my look than I want maybe in the moment. That's just because it's ranked a little bit lower, but all in all, it's a really solid, beautiful formulation that you can count on. Especially the metallics, guys, are really, really stunning. And the ranking aside, it's just a palette that's really close to my heart and that I really, really like. And this is something in the end that I can't rank because it's just a hard thing, you know. She was one of those creators I really love to watch, and I'm really happy that I got my hands on this palette. I don't regret it again, just a little bit. I really like this palette, but just in terms of the quality overall when it comes to the mattes, it's not my favorite matte formulation of all time. But like I said, it's a beautiful, nice palette you can count on, and it's just so much more than, you know, the colors or the palette itself. It's just something I wanted for a long time, and I'm really happy that I have it, and I will continue to use it because it's stunning, it's solid, I can count on it, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's not my favorite matte formulation of all time. But that aside, I think a beautiful, nice palette. My Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I didn't do a dedicated video to it. I bought it this year because I got it on a good discount. I think it's a beautiful palette. There's not much variation in terms of the shimmers. It's just a solid type of shimmer formulation. I really loved my eye look though when I used this palette. You saw me having this palette on my eyes when I showed you the things that I will pack with me for vacation, and I said to you I will show you a dedicated video on the eye look. I don't know, I have the video in my possession. I didn't do something with the video. I have it on my computer. So if you really want to see the look that I created with this palette and you really want to see it, please tell me in the comments down below that I put it up for you. But I don't know, it's just a video I wasn't the proudest of, and it's a nice look at the end of the day. I really enjoyed my look, and I think I will get very, very much use out of this palette in the summertime. But it's, I don't know, the video didn't make it. It just didn't make it. It's sometimes like that, so. But all in all, I have to say I really like this palette, and maybe when the summertime will arrive or the warmer time will arrive again, I will do a new video with this one, overall look with this one or something like that. I don't know if you can get this palette anymore, but I really think it's a beautiful, nice palette. I can count on it. I love the colors in here. I love the color variation in here. I love the really light shades. It's something I enjoy using in the moment, so really need to use this palette more, but I enjoy my time with it, and I think it's really deserving to be a little bit higher up because it's just a palette I really can count on. I really love the Natasha Denona formulation, and I know every time I'm using her palettes, I love my eye look in the end, so this is no exception. My Pat McGrath x Bridgerton collaboration, the second one, and it's called Belle of the Ball. It's really new in my collection, but I love it. I think it's beautiful, it's stunning. I can again count on it when it comes down to it. I love this really sheeny, satiny type of matte formulation from her. It's looking so beautiful on the eyes. Just this one all over the lid, and you could also be done with the look. I love the glittery shades in here. This especially, the special shade right here, it's so glittery, beautiful, and yummy looking on the eyes. So it's deserving to be high. It's really deserving it, and I'm so glad that I got my hands finally on this palette, even though it's an older one. I enjoy my time with it, guys. We are coming close to the end, guys. It's this time a quint I wanted for a long time, and when they reformulated their quints, I jumped on the old formulation because I wanted this one in the old formulation for such a long time. And it's my Dior quint in denim. It's this one right here. It's so beautiful. I don't use it that much in the moment, to be completely honest, because I don't do many blue looks in the moment. But that aside, guys, it's a beautiful palette. I will always come back to blue. And if I want a blue, stunning, sophisticated eye look, this is my best friend. This right here is so beautiful. I'm so happy that I have it, and I love the little quints. I love Dior. It will always be something really special to me when I'm buying me a Dior quint. I don't have everything from them, but I really like overall the execution and the formulation overall from Dior. So really enjoy my time with this one. Also a palette I bought me, not really because I wanted it for a long time or something like that. It was on a discount, and I thought, I love the brand. I know that I love everything from the brand, and why not? It's the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. This one right here, it's a bigger one. And I'm not mad that I bought it, guys. It's so beautiful. It's really a palette that's non-creasing. I can say that confidently. I can say that with much confidence, because I wore this one to a really sweaty, hot day on a concert, and it wasn't creasing just a little bit. I was so amazed by this palette right here, guys. I love it. The only thing is, I have to say, I wished, like in the maybe gold palette, it would come with a little bit more of variety when it comes down to the shimmer shades, that I have a little bit more variation with the formulation. You know, it's all beautiful, but all really solid, all really the same type of matte and metallic kind of formulation. But I love it. If you need something that it's easy, quick, you need to count on it, I think this is beautiful. I love also the colors. I love that it's giving me a little bit more warmth. It's something I'm missing and enjoying right now as well, again, because we have so many cool tones that I also think are stunning. But I also love that I have a little bit variation with my warmer tone palettes right here, and I think this is a palette I really enjoy myself with. I really think my eye looks are always so beautiful, and I love the shades in here. I love the performance of this one. A beautiful solid palette I can count on. Also a palette I bought really just because I was curious, and it became a palette that I love to use so much, and it's my Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette right here. This palette, guys, solid, beautiful, stunning shades. I love to put them on my eyes. I love to play with them. It's always looking so nice and sophisticated, even though I'm playing maybe with the lilac-y shade in here. I always like how my eye looks are turning out with this palette right here. And I really like the colors. I really like the color combination. I really love the colors that are chosen. You have a little bit more warm tones, you have a little bit more coolish type of tones. You have a little mix of everything in here, and I love to combine them overall. I think it's a beautiful and nice palette. The palette I reviewed not that long ago, and it's my YSL Clutch palette right here, and I bought me the 200. It's this beauty right here. Those are solid, beautiful shades you can count on. I love the formulation in here overall. I think they're really stunning and something so special and beautiful. And it's a formulation I don't have that much in my collection, if not at all. I think it's a really nice and beautiful formulation, I have to say, and I love when brands are doing something a little bit more innovative with the formulation as well. So this is something I'm looking also into when it comes down to my big eyeshadow collection, you know, if the formulation is something I'm impressed with. And this is a formulation I really love and I'm really impressed with. I love the colors in here. I love that I can get a really sultry, strong type of eye look, but I also can go a little bit light-handed in there and have a nice, light, sparkly dream on my eyes, you know. I think it's a beautiful palette. It's a nice palette I can count on as well, and I love the overall packaging and feeling of this palette right here. The Venus in Fleur Luxe Quad Voyeuristic Vixen from Pat McGrath. I got the red packaged one because of the new year. It was a special limited edition type of packaging, but I just wanted this palette, to be honest, guys. And I think it's beautiful, especially this shifty shade right here is so stunning. I every time adore and love my eye look when I'm using this palette. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful for a quad, for 4 eyeshadows that you get in here. I think it's just a stunning palette. What can I say? I every time love my eye look. I just can go a little bit lighter just with those 3 shades right here. And when I want to amp it really up, this one is my best friend. And if you know me, you know I want every time to amp it up. So it's getting a lot use out of me, and I'm very happy that I got my hands on this one. The next Anastasia Beverly Hills palette that I got for myself, and it's the Rose Metals palette. I just adore this, guys. I love it a little bit more than the other one, I have to say, just because those are more my type of colors, a little bit more grungier, but also you can also go light. But the reddish tones in here, this rose fire shade is also like a little type of duochrome shade. It's looking rosy but also a little bit golden and bronzy in the pan. It's just a stunning palette with stunning colors in here, beautiful combination of colors as well. I have the feeling the metallics and shimmery shades in here are a little bit more special, just a little bit more metallic looking, a little bit more glittery looking than in the Nouveau palette. And it's also giving my eyes this beautiful reddish type of eye look that I so love and adore. It's just so much fun to use this one, and I know that I can count on it when I want a beautiful, more dreamy, darker kind of eye look, and I really enjoy my time with this one, I have to say. I think it's a stunning, stunning, stunning and beautiful palette. The next one is again a Dior palette. It's very new in my collection, and I really love and adore it so much more than I thought I would, to be honest, because I thought just I won't use it that much, but I really use it very, very frequently. So it's a palette I'm enjoying. And it's the Dior Backstage Silver Essentials palette right here. It's from their winter collection, and it's a beautiful, stunning, solid palette with more sheeny type of matte shades. A little bit of sparkle you get in here with this shade, but all in all it's a really more ethereal, sheeny type of palette and look that you will get with this one. But you can also amp it up with those darker colors in here, and they will give you a little bit more impact for sure. However, how I like to use this palette the most at the end of the day is in conjunction with other palettes, or I should say more, I like to use it as in, not as the extra palette, I like to use it on its own with many colors, but I really like to put in a shimmer from another palette at the end on top, just to amp it a little bit more up. But all in all, I think this is also a palette that you can use on its own, and it's so beautiful, so stunning. I every time love my eye look with this one. I love that you are getting colors that are going from really light to really dark, and that you can be your own master, you know, of your eye look. You can decide how deep you want to go with your eye look at that day. I love that you are getting so many beautiful cool tones, but they are also different and so stunning on their own that you all can use also as an one and done at the end of the day. But I love also that you have this white right here, so if you are playing with the darker shades and you want a little bit more of a blend, the white is really your best friend for that. Or even this really light lilac-y shade in here, also so stunning, so wintry looking. I just love this palette. I love to use it in so many ways. I love to use it on its own with other palettes. Just stunning. It's just stunning, and I really enjoy my time with this one, and I'm happy that I have this one now. We are going strong. It's a palette from a brand that I used the first time this year. I really wanted to branch out and know a little bit more other brands as well, and especially indie brands. And the brand I chose this year is Glaminatrix Cosmetics, and I bought me the Sugar and Spice palette from them. First of all, guys, if I wouldn't know that this is an indie brand or something like that, you could think it's really a luxury type of palette. It's looking so beautiful. The price is also a little bit more on the luxury side, I won't lie. It's not that cheap at the end of the day, but look at the inside. The shimmers in here, guys, the shimmers, the mattes, everything is so beautiful, and it's exactly what I enjoyed this year, to have a little bit more of neutral type of matte tones but with fun pops of shimmers. And you also get some mattes that are a little bit more adventurous, like those more pastel kind of shades. And I'm really, really enjoying my time with this one. Every time I do a shimmer all over my lid with this one, whew, it's taking the look to the next level. The shimmers are so shimmery and stunning, guys. I really like this palette, and it really deserves to be really high ranked. Also a palette that I bought recently, and I wanted to try this brand for a long time. And this year I really take the bullet and bought me not just one but 2 palettes from this brand. And it's from Rowan, and I bought me the 75 degree palette, and it's so beautiful, guys. I have to be honest, you need to get a little bit used to the formulation. It's really a creamy, really creamy type of formulation. I have nothing like this in my collection. I even now need to get used to this formulation a little bit more and a little bit better, but I really like to use it with matte shades. I really like to use it on its own. I like to use it either way, but with those palettes you need to be prepared for creasing. It's no matter what you do, no matter if you are combining it with matte shades or not, it will crease eventually because it's just the nature of those formulations, of those shades. But I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's looking so sultry and sexy somehow, but also so lightweight on the same time, and it's not too much done up, but you just feel nice with it, you know, and it's not bothering me that it's creasing. You can fix it at the end of the day. It's just something you need to take into consideration buying those palettes, because they are not cheap at the end of the day. I got them on a good discount, but I just want to point it out. All in all, I think it's stunning. I love the warm tones in here. I want to use it so much more. I have fun with those ones, and I just want to experience the shades and the formulation a little bit more, and it's just fun to play with them, and I love that it's giving me something I don't have in my big collection, so this is a plus in itself. The next one is also from Rowan. It's the second palette I bought, and it's the 52 degree palette. It's the cooler toned one, and I just enjoyed this one a teensy bit more than the other one, but all in all I love both of them, guys. This palette is just beautiful, and even my mom, and really my mom rarely compliments my eyes, because she's just so used to it that I'm doing my eyes every time, and she's not a big fan. I think there we aren't the same, of glittery shades, but always when I'm wearing Dior she compliments my eyes, or in this case when I wore this palette she loved my eye look so much. It was the look that I did in my video with you together. After that I did go to my mom and I wore this right here, and she was so amazed by the look of my eyes. So this is saying something when my mom is complimenting my eye look, and I also really enjoyed it. I love that I can a little bit more bolder and darker with this one, and this, especially this grayish bluish type of shade, is so beautiful, and in combination with this really stunning, amazing, unique texture, it's just perfect. I really love it, and it's deserving to be really high ranked. But I'm all in all so amazed with the Rowan quality, and I want to just branch out a little bit more with them now, you know. And this is, if I have the feeling I want more from a brand after using it, I think it's a positive thing that I must really like the brand, in fact. So very happy to decide to get this one for myself, and I'm very excited to continue to play with them, and maybe to buy me, when time goes on, a little bit more quartz, because I think all of them are looking so beautiful and I really want to play a little bit more with them. It's a palette that it's from last year, but I bought it this year, and it's again a palette from Pat McGrath. It's a 5-pan from her, and it's her Bronze Bliss palette, and it's so beautiful, guys. Look, I love this one. It's giving me a beautiful sparkly dimensional eye in second. Even though this palette just have one matte, it's not bothering me at all. And what I like about this dark black matte, it's not black, it's not the blackest black right away. It's really something you can build up. You can make it a little bit softer, you can make it a little bit stronger if you want. And this is something I really appreciate when it comes to a 5-pan, because then you can really manipulate your look like you want it to look at the end, you know. And it's just so beautiful. It's, even though it's not considered as her special formulation, it's a special formulation in itself. Those little quints, they have a special formulation in themselves. I think they're so beautiful. This one especially, it's blowing my mind away. I love the packaging. I think it's a sturdy, good packaging to travel. And considering the price point, I think it's really nice looking. So I really love it. I really love it. And every time I use this one, I love my eye look so much. If it wouldn't be a 4-pan, I would rank it really high, maybe on the first place. But it's a palette I can't really get a full look out of, because I like to use a little bit more than just those colors. But it's a really great palette and I love it so much. Sadly, you can't get it anymore. It was also released last year, but I bought it this year. And it's this Bobbi Brown Luxe eyeshadow quad right here. Look at this, guys. I think it's stunning. And this time I used it on my face today, on my eyes today. I use it as this little golden wing that you can see right here, so that you can see it a little bit, at least in action. And it's a little gold wing that you can see right here on my lid. So beautiful. It's giving the right wham bam to the look. And if I want to amp up my look, it's just so beautiful. I always use this one. It's like Pat McGrath's special shades, and it's just so stunning and sparkly. I love them. And I wouldn't bring this palette up if I wouldn't know what I know now, and it's that you can get those shades as singles. You have the shade Moonstone, Sunflare, Citrine and Metal Rose. I think 1 or 2 of them are limited edition, but I think the most of them, or the most colors in the Bobbi Brown palette, they are also available as singles. And it's so worth it, guys. They're so beautiful if you just take the color that you love the most, especially the glitters. This satiny kind of shade, Metal Rose, it's also so stunning and beautiful. I love to use it. But to be honest, the most of the time I'm sticking to those 3 shades right here. They are the glitteriest glitter shades almost that I have in my collection, I have the feeling. They're so beautiful and stunning. They're right up with Pat McGrath's special shades. Maybe they're also the glitteriest glitter shades I have in my collection, but those are really, they could almost beat the Pat McGrath special shades, to be completely honest. They're so beautiful, so stunning, and I love this so much. Also from this year, it's relatively new, and how could it other be? It's also from Pat McGrath, of course, and it's a 5-pan as well. And it's the Luna Nightshade palette from her Bijou Brilliance collection. This palette, guys, it's so beautiful. I used it, I think, yesterday again for work, and I love it. I stick to this one as a liner, put it on the whole line of my lid, of my upper lid area, and just a little wing on the outside. And I topped everything off with this one on my whole lid, and also a little bit this one in my inner corner, and I called it a day. It was a beautiful, stunning, mesmerizing look. I loved it. It was simple but so interesting at the same time, and this palette, guys, it's just giving me so much joy. It's so wet, so glittery looking, so metallic-like, and it's again a formulation I never had before from Pat McGrath until she came out with those 5 pans right here. And I think those are really special formulations for themselves, and I really enjoy it. I think those are beautiful colors, right up my alley, and it needs to be really high ranked. I knew that right away, and I just love this palette, guys. Next one is my Natasha Denona Retro palette, and this is so much fun, guys. I love that I have the variety in here, even though it's not looking like it, but I can go really peachy if I want to. I can go more on the brownish, coolish side, and I can go really reddish, plummy toned with my eye look. I just love it, and I love that I have also light shades in here for the inner corner, that I have a little bit more variety with the texture overall. I have a cream to powder, I have more glittery type of shades, and I have also more metallic type of shades in here, and they are performing all so beautiful and nice, and I really enjoy this palette, guys. I think it's a beautiful and stunning palette. The colors are right up my alley. I love those type of colors, and I love that I can go in different directions with this palette, and the palette is giving me so much, and it's just for all year round a really great palette, if I can say so. And I love that I bought it for myself, and I know now why so many people like it as well so much. And yeah, I'm just happy that I have it in my collection, and it deserves to be really high ranked for sure. It's again a Natasha Denona palette, and it's her Glam Face palette. I have the dark one. I just bought it because it was on a sale, and I didn't want it initially, but I felt head over heels with this one, guys. I think it's a beautiful palette. Every time loved my eye look so much. I love that it's a little bit more sultry and dark looking. I also love this blush so much. I think it's pairing really nice overall with the palette. The highlighter is a little bit dark for me, but it's just working. It's working. I can use it as a highlighter, and I love that it's so reflective and beautiful looking. I think it's a stunning highlighter, and overall this palette is giving me a complete look, you know, a complete and beautiful look that I love Of course, I don't have a really light highlighter in here, but I can use this one as my inner corner highlight as well for the eyes, and it's working so good. So I love this palette, guys. I love how my eyes are looking. I love those metallics in here. The mattes are blending like butter, like a dream. And it's even better, I have to say, than my Dior Quint, the red tartan one. That's because this is a little bit ranked lower, really lower, much lower, because when I think of those colors in the red tartan palette, I choose more this type of palette, you know, from Natasha Denona. Really can count on it. And the palette I also bought for myself. I can't show it now because it's somewhere in my drawer, but I bought me also the Glam Face palette. I don't know how it's called. The Love Glam Face palette or something like that, or just the Love Face palette. The pinky one, you know. I bought this one for myself as well. You can get it in the moment on Cult Beauty for 50% off. And I jumped on it because I enjoyed this one so much, and I love the colors in here. And if you are knowing me, red, pink colors are my favorite colors to wear on my eyes, especially pink. I love to wear pink on my eyes, so I needed to have this palette after using this one and loving it so much. I knew whenever I will get the other palette for a good deal, I will jump on it, and so I did. It's in my collection, didn't use it, but I want to use it, and it will be in a ranking maybe for next year, but you will see me using it. And I'm so excited about this one, but just that you know, I love this one. I love it so much more than I thought I would, and I'm appreciating it right now so much more than I thought I would, because it's just a palette that I really use so often, and I really every time enjoy my eye look with this one. I think it's sophisticated, stunning, just a dream. It's just a dream and looking so nice, so that's why it's so high ranked. It's a palette I just also bought me recently, and it's not that long in my collection, but I'm pretty familiar with this formulation, so I can say confidently on which place I want to have this palette. And it's from Pat McGrath's My Sublime palette. It's beautiful, guys. I love this green here, and so just that you can see it now in action, the green, like every one of you wanted. It's the green that I have in the middle portion of my eyelid area all over it. So beautiful. Also have it in the middle portion of my lower lash line. So just that you can see a little bit more of the green and how stunning it looks. I really love it. I love the palette overall. I love that I can go really neutral overall, but with the black and the green, it's giving me the opportunity to also go a little bit bolder with my look. And overall, I really like it. I have to say, what I noticed in some of her older formulations, in her older palettes, and it's the one from her first 3 palettes, and I noticed that the metallic shades in here are a little bit more smoother and a little bit more on the satiny side, whereas in her newer palettes, the metallics are really this foiled kind of metallic formulation. I have to say I like both, because with both of the formulations I have something a little bit more special and unique on my eyelid, and those ones I also like to use almost as an matte shade all over my lid, that I have a little bit more of a beautiful sheeny look, that my eyes are looking a little bit more wetter with them. And with the other ones, they're also looking wetter, but they had a really another take on them, and they're looking a little bit more metallic glittery. And with this one, they're looking a little bit more satiny wet, you know. So this is the difference. I hope you could understand what I wanted to say, but I really like this as well. I think it's beautiful and stunning, and I love that I have a palette now from her that's giving me really the opportunity to just do a quote-unquote boring look. I like that sometimes as well so much, and I also love that I can amp it up with her special shades and make it so interesting anyways. And I really love this palette. It's beautiful, and I'm so happy that I got my hands on this one as well on a good deal. So my number 5 is my Lancome X Louvre palette right here. I love it. I didn't want to get it initially, to be honest, but when I heard that Lisa Eldridge worked on this palette and she put her creative flow in here, I really wanted this one so badly. You could say this green is really the same as the green in the palette I showed you second ago, like in the Sublime palette, like I have right here on my eyes. It's the same type of green and I really love it. So it's a green I really enjoy to use. And all the other shades, they are so light but so ethereal and stunning looking. Even when I'm wearing this one and my boyfriend sees that I'm wearing this palette right here, he always liked my eyes and how light and airy it's looking and how you just look so Polish and put together when using this palette. You know, I also love that you have a highlighter in here that you can use for your face, but of course also for your eyes. It's just a beautiful, stunning palette and it's giving me something so special, even though those are all metallic and shimmery type of shades. They are working so nicely with a brush, with your finger. It's just a beautiful palette that's giving me something so ethereal but also so interesting looking at the same time, and I really enjoy to use it. So it needed to put really high because it's just a stunning palette overall. The execution, the feeling that the palette is giving me, and the looks that I can get with this palette. I can go really bold, I can go really soft, but all in all it's just a stunning and just so interesting type of palette that I don't have like that in my collection, and I really love it. Number 4 is a palette I wanted for a long time. We will now have a little bit of Pat McGrath palettes in here, just that you know. And it's my Subliminal palette. It's the first palette Pat ever bought out. And I wanted this one for a long time. And this year I got it for myself. And I don't regret it a little bit. I have to be honest, towards the end of the year I didn't play that much with blue tones. And I bought me so many cool palettes that I didn't play as much as I wanted with this one, but every time I use it I love it so much. The special shades are really special in here, especially this and this shade right here. Those two are so stunning looking. This is with a really beautiful bluish shift in it, and this is with a really beautiful rosy and bluish grayish shift in it, and so stunning. Even this shade right here, it's also more on the satiny metallic type of side, but I really love it. I can also use it, like I said, as an almost matte type of shade with a beautiful sheen to it, and it will therefore look a little bit more wetter and interesting on my eyes. Really enjoy this palette. I love it so much. It's so stunning. Couldn't rank it any lower because it's just a beautiful palette and I know I will use it so much more. It's just a palette I can always count on. When it comes to her motherships, I always can count on them, and I really love this one. The next one, again a mothership, and the last one, it's the Utopian Dream palette from Pat. What can I say? You have rosy tones, pinkish, peachy tones. You have a beautiful lilac-y, glittery dream. You have this glittery dream right here that's also so beautiful and so amped up. You have this duochrome shade in here that is also really stunning. How could this palette not be on my top list, you know, of 2023? And I think you can see how much I used it already. It's having a little bit of usage from me. So it's a palette I always have to think of. I really enjoy myself using it. I love this so much. It's no wonder for me that it's ranked so high, and I really enjoy it. I love this one so much, and I think it's a stunning and beautiful palette. Okay guys, the top 2, maybe you can guess it.Maybe you know how many palettes I have in my collection, how many palettes I bought this year and brought into my collection. But number 2, I can't believe that this is number 2, but I really enjoy myself using this one. I love it more than I thought, and I really use it so much more than I thought. And it's the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. It's quote-unquote a really day-friendly, boring palette, but also not really, because you can amp it so much up. It's so beautiful, and even this shade Travertine, where I said to you that's a little bit dried out feeling, it's working now perfectly fine. I needed just to use it a little bit more to warm it a little bit more up, but now it's working so beautifully. This palette is the palette I'm wearing also today. I played with a little bit more of my top palettes today, just that I can show you a little bit on my eyes. And I used this one at the outer and inner portion of my lid and lower lash line, and just created a beautiful look. I used this really dark brownish shade right here called Silhouette on the outer and inner corner. and topped it off with Filigree, this one right here. It's my favorite shade, by the way, in this palette. And on my lower lash line I topped the dark silhouette shade out with the travertine shade, and it's just so stunning. And for the rosy shade that you can see also in my look, I used the shade Wit. I love this shade so much. I think it's a beautiful shade, and this is overall everything I used with this palette right here, and I love it so much, guys. Muse I also love so much, but I wouldn't have thought that Filigree would be my favorite shade. I love the darkness of it. I love the glittery metallic type of look I get on my eyes with this shade. This palette overall, guys, is so beautiful. I can go so light, I can go so dark and bold, and I can mix it up. I can go a little bit more on the rosy side and can go more brownish neutral. I just love it, guys. I think it's a beautiful palette and I use it so much. I didn't thought that I will, to be honest, when I bought this palette, but I love it more than ever, because right now I'm really also in the phase where I like to use a little bit more of neutral type of shades. I really enjoy them in the moment, so I use it so much, guys, and I love it so much. I think it's a beautiful palette and it deserves to be on the second place for sure, because of how much I want to use this one and how much joy it brings me and how much I love my eye look. Even at the end of the day when I'm looking at my eyes, it's just getting more beautiful as the day goes on, you know, because it's getting a little bit more worn in, a little bit more the slick type of look you will get with it. I just love it. It's so reddish looking as well, so glittery as well. It's just perfection. Okay, guys, the number one palette that I really think it's the palette that deserves the most to be on number one, because it's surprised me so much. It's a newer brand that I wanted to try for a longer time. And right away when I used it, when I tested it out for the first time, I was so blown away by the quality and by the opportunity this palette is giving me. So the palette I'm talking about is the Isamaye Industrial Color Pigment 2.0 palette. This one right here. Guys, it's a palette, by the way, I'm also wearing on my eyes, just a little bit of it. I mixed those two shimmery shades and put it all over my brow bow. I hope you can see how stunning glittery my brow bows are in the moment and how sheeny they are. This palette is giving me so much fun, so much joy, so much opportunity to play with colors, to mix and match colors I wouldn't normally mix and match. It's giving me the opportunity to be so creative, to think a little bit more about my combinations I want to do. And it's just fun. I love to use this palette on its own. I love to use it in conjunction with other palettes, to just take a glittery shade out of here and use it as a beautiful topper, or just, to be honest, do looks on its own. I have those sheeny type of shades, and this is everything I'm needing to create a full look in my case. I really love to do that. It's just so beautiful. I have some shimmers that are a little bit more on the neutral side, you know, a little bit more of a fun pop, but there are also shimmers that are a little bit more out there, a little bit more wham bam. I just love it, guys. I think it's a stunning palette. It's a palette that's giving me so much opportunity to play. It's giving me just so much joy and fun, and it's glittery as it's exactly what I want in my life, you know, and I love it. It deserves to be on the first place. I think it's a palette I will get so much use out of. I will get my money worth out of. It's a pricey palette, I won't lie. It's just a palette that I'm so happy to have in my collection, and that I always think of when it comes to my collection. So I really enjoy it. And I think the glitters in here are so special and stunning, and you can see me shine from the moon and back when I wear those glitters, you know. I'm so happy I bought this for myself, and it's a palette that's just bringing me joy, and this is something I think it's worth to be on the first place. When something is bringing you so much joy, so much happiness, when you are using it, you're feeling 10 times better than you felt before. So it's something that makes me really happy, and I really enjoy those colors in here. I think it's so innovative and it's in its own way, you know. I really love it. Oh my gosh, guys, we are done. There you have it. Those are my palettes. Those are my ranking of all the palettes I tried in 2023. I hope I did an okay job. I try to be as honest as possible with myself, with you guys. Like I said, all in all of the palettes are beautiful and stunning. The quality is beautiful and stunning on almost all of the palettes. It's just more like my preference and what I gravitated more towards. And I also choose the palettes where I thought that I really got my money the most worth out of, you know. I bought them and I used them so much that I have the feeling it was so worth it to pay the price on those palettes. So this is what my ranking was all about. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I enjoyed it really much, but I'm so done now. So done. Just want to pack the palettes away and go to bed. I'm so tired. It was really hard. I don't want to know how the creators are feeling right now that bought more than 100 palettes or something like that, because alone to talk about 39 palettes that are new in my collection, it's really much. But I love them all so much and I enjoy them all so much, and I'm happy that I have them for sure. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, I would be so happy if you give me a thumbs up, that I know that you like this kind of content. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click on the little bell to get notifications here and there when I'm posting something new. And with that being said, guys, I hope the new year will bring us much joy, much happiness, and much new fun makeup as possible. And I hope that my channel will grow with you together so much more. And I'm so thankful for all of you guys. Thank you so much. This was really the year where I experienced the most growth with my channel, and I was really amazed and happy by that. It really kept me going to do more videos, to be more creative, to be more in front of the camera than I was before. It really motivated me overall, and I want just to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Really, I'm really thankful, and so thankful as well for all the lovely comments. I didn't thought that I would just get so much love. It was really something so special for me, and I'm so happy about that. And I want to continue to make videos for you and to have fun with makeup and to show you just the best that I can, and just to make your decision overall every time a little bit easier on everything I'm buying for myself as well. And just to tell you my truth, my honest with everything I'm buying. It was a lot, guys, so I would say I will see you in my next video. Very excited about that, and until then, guys, bye and have a nice and beautiful time with your family.